Good evening, councilors. My name is Les Burnell. I reside at 257 Mount Vernon Street in South Lawrence. I've been there for almost 30 years. I run a national organization also called Stop Predatory Gambling, which is based here in Lawrence at 60 Island Street. And I'm here tonight because, and actually I should say, before I even did this, I was the chairman of the planning board for 7 years in the city. I have served as the chief of staff to Massachusetts State Senator Sue Tucker for seven and a half years. And she was really the first person to introduce me to the issue of predatory gambling, both in Massachusetts and around our country. So I'm here tonight because I want to thank Councilor Infante for filing this resolution. But the reason behind this resolution is there's a major casino project proposed at the Rockingham Mall Casino. It's one of the company called Live Casino. They have casinos up and down the East Coast. And this is a company that they're not targeting Southern New Hampshire with that project. They want that location to target especially Lawrence residents. And in their own traffic study, as it says in the resolution, 77% of the traffic's going to come from the south. And a major part of that's going to come from the city of Lawrence. And so very quickly, the reason why it matters so much is 90% of the business model for this type of casino, okay, and this is from our own Massachusetts Gambling Commission, showed that 90% of the revenue comes from citizens who are either addicted or at risk for addiction. So the business model is based on exploiting people. It's not the casual gambler. It's based on the out-of-control gambler. And the other big piece of it, our own Massachusetts Gambling Commission showed that the impact of casinos here in this state, that the closer you are to the casino, it has a major impact on discretionary income. Businesses that rely on discretionary income, and it showed that 45, and the stats in the resolution, 45 to, I want to say up to 82% of the revenue that came into casino that patrons acknowledged they would have spent in other locations like restaurants, bars, and nightclubs. So like so the money that citizens lose in Lawrence, not only does it affect their pocketbooks themselves, but it's going to affect our local economy, the restaurants here, the nightclubs, et cetera. So those are two major reasons why, and I could talk for a long time about it. I won't do that, and I invite the councilor to say a few words as well, but I'm grateful for your support tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Burnell. I just want to emphasize, for me, the most important data point is the addiction part of it. In our community, we are faced with numerous of different addictions or I would say challenges that our residents face, and if we can do something about that, if we could not, I guess, add more gasoline, if we can do some prevention, then I think this might be one of those cases. So I am in support. I'm also obviously in support of not jeopardizing or damaging our local economy in any way. But for me, the most important thing it was the addiction data point once I spoke to Mr. Burnell.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you. I just, well, very well written resolution, a lot of research, a lot of data on there. So let me just ask one question. I'll open it up to my colleagues. So that location previously was a location that many of our older residents may remember, the Rockingham Park, where they actually used to gamble on horse and bet on horse racing. So some people may say, historically there's been gambling over there. We're just going to resume the gambling that we had before. Can you explain why?
Sure. It's an important question.
That's why we had gambling before, but this is different in some way. Why is this different?
And I would say when I was in high school and in college, I actually was somebody who actually went to the Rockingham racetrack frequently. I would go up, the races were every 20 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week they'd have the races. We had a great time. It never was a big game. I never won anything, thankfully, in terms of what I got addicted to, because it was easy money if I ever won. But so actually, as someone who, I never even questioned the issue. But just to be clear for anyone participating in this and watching this, this is pari-mutuel. Rockingham Park is pari-mutuel gambling. Horse racing is, like this way the odds go off at 2 to 1, and when more money comes in on horse number 5, the odds change. Like it's called pari-mutuel gambling. It's not, you're not going against the house. When you're in a casino situation, it's a high-speed type of gambling, the kind of gambling that's coming in here. People are going in the casino 4 to 5 times a week, losing $100, $200 every time they go. High speed, playing 600 times an hour in many instances. Every 5 seconds, they're pressing the button. The experience of playing a big-time casino gambling in 2024 is 180 degrees different than the experience of horse racing or any of that type of that is a form of gambling, but it's like comparing, look at the forms of hardcore drugs, right? Cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, which are actually, by the way, gambling addiction is considered as serious an addiction as those addictions. Those hardcore drugs, we don't compare them to taking, you know, a Tylenol or a baby aspirin, a St. Joseph baby aspirin. They're both forms of drugs technically, but the impact on someone's finances, the impact on someone's brain chemistry, all that is 100 degrees different than it is on big-time casino gambling. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. And my last question, I lied. I had two questions, I guess. So my last one is what you're expecting to see in Salem, New Hampshire. Are we just looking at electronic gaming as far as like pushing buttons, or are we looking at table games as well?
Yeah, so if you're looking at, anyone who's been to, what Seabrook Dog Track used to be has now become a big-time casino. So that's kind of at a minimum, in the short term, that's what it's going to look like. They have table games up there and other forms of gambling. But this company that's coming in from out of state, this live casino company, they are not a charitable gambling company. They're not going up there to do, you know, low stakes machines. That is a full-scale casino company. They have every intention of getting into that location, overturning New Hampshire state law, and legalizing full-scale legalized casinos in New Hampshire. Like, that's the end game. The end game isn't what they're proposing there. The end game is to build a full-scale, massive casino project right on our border, targeting these communities.
And what's in the proposals before New Hampshire right now is just electronic games where you're just pressing the poker?
Well, no, they have table game type, they have poker type games, that type of stuff already in New Hampshire. But in terms of like big time, what's called Class 3 type of gambling, high stakes. It's not the high stakes. They don't have like a $500 table. Yeah. So you go into a big time casino, they have high stakes gambling. So this is going to be, for Lawrence, this is still high stakes. So you're still losing $100, $200 a pop. But it's not the kind of high level Class 3 big time casino gambling where they make the most money on. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's still casino gambling. The experience is the same, but you can't. Right now, you can't wager huge amounts like you can in other.
So I'm sorry, I'm not explaining myself well. So will there be croupiers there? Will there be somebody shuffling cards and playing poker? Is there going to be dice? Are people going to be rolling at the craps table?
Yes.
Are there going to be
yes,
table
yes,
games like
yes,
that? Not
yes.
not just the ding ding ding.
Correct.
Where you can do that
That's correct.
simultaneously. So it's both the full gaming with the cards and the dice and everything else, and the roulette wheel, all those things, in addition to the zing dings. Okay.
Yeah, so the Brook, what you see at the Brook is kind of what that model is. It's definitely almost like the casino experience without the high stakes that a regular casino has. And the goal is to get that high level to overturn the New Hampshire state law, and that's the end game. Okay. So there's other big players that are circling New Hampshire now as well.
Gotcha. Councilors, any other questions, comments?
Council President.
I see Council Del Rosario. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Comment, and then I have a question. Our colleague Stephanie, Councilor Infante, mentioned the part of the addiction, which it's one of the part why I am in favor. All the things that we've been helping our small business. Even last week, we provide funding for a small business. If a business of this capability come so close to us, it's going to hurt or it's going to impact somehow our local small business that we've been trying to help for so long, and we're still trying to give them funding so they can pick up and run the business. So hopefully we can take this into consideration. And this is one of the reasons why I'm in full support. If you guys notice, in the past 2.5 years, I've been vocal about a small business and also entrepreneur while supporting the mayor initiative to try to help and support and fund all these small businesses. So we could try not to allow any of these big businesses to come and hurt our city or small businesses. So I'm all in support. And the question that I have is, what can we get now that this proposal it's here with us? How can we help, or what is Mr. Bernard expecting to come out of this meeting and get done, or how can we help him?
If I may,
Yes,
Chair. LaPlante. Councilor Rosario, so what we will get out of this, to answer for both Mr. Brunel and myself, what we would get out of this is to show support from surrounding community to really to give a little bit of pressure to the state of New Hampshire and the Salem, the town of Salem, for them to listen to our voices, for them to realize that this proposal or this business is not only going to affect them, but also their surrounding communities. And as we know, working in local government, things get done when you work together, whether you're in the same state or not. So that's the outcome that we're hoping to achieve.
And just one other key point about is if anyone who followed the New Hampshire governor's race and all the politics in New Hampshire, the campaign this past cycle was, this is the exact quote, "Don't mass it up." And by that means, when they say mass it up, they're talking about cities like Lawrence, and they blame Lawrence for all New Hampshire's problems. They're blaming it on our city. And so now they're going to put a casino that's going to intensify those problems. Even though New Hampshire bears a lot of responsibility for those, they blame our community for that. So to write to the Councilor Rosario, that's right to your point. Like, that's why it matters so much. It sends a message to the people of Salem and to the state of New Hampshire that it's not fair. What you're saying is not true about don't mass it up. More importantly, don't put a business that's going to hurt the citizens. The same things you complain about up there about cities like ours, it's just going to make all those problems worse.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm all in support of this petition, and they can count on me due to the fact that, once again, we've been trying to help our small businesses to go up after the pandemic, and we cannot allow anything that is going to hurt our economy near our city. Thank you.
And may I add, if I could, Chair? May I add, Councilor Rosario, we are all aware, especially the city councils, that we work 100% at the local level. We're aware that some aspects of our local economy, of our local businesses, could improve in some areas. But even with that, whether we disagree or agree on some of those problems, the fact that we're here and advocating for even those type of businesses and we're recognizing the impact that's going to have overall speaks volumes.
Very good. Councilor Santiago.
Yes. We was talking about employee, we was talking about economy, and that's a new business around. I represent some constituent, and they request me if there is, how big will be the casino, and how can impact for the employees, because a lot of people right now they are unemployment or they are looking for a job, and if it's the big, if that is a new opportunity for they can get a job over there.
So, if I may, through you, Chair, Councilor Santiago, even if this project were to pass by from Salem, there's no guarantee that residents of the city of Lawrence will be employed. I mean, even here at the local level, we've been part of the debates with companies and business owners to ensure that Lawrence residents gets hired. Unfortunately, in this scenario, this is not a business that's going to open in the city of Lawrence. We cannot guarantee and we can't force them to hire personnel from the city of Lawrence.
And I would just add, when it comes to these job numbers, this is a business that creates far more addicted gamblers than the people who actually work there. So what the trade-off is for a small amount of people get a low-paying job, whereas thousands and thousands of other citizens suffer life-changing addictions. So that's the trade-off. And those are numbers, every state that's gone down this road, they have higher numbers of people who are addicted to the business than people who actually work there. And the last thing I'll say, because we're in Lawrence, you know, this is a city, one of the most famous things in American history and labor history was the Bread and Roses strike, okay? And with that, not growing up, never understood what that meant, what Bread and Roses meant. Bread and Roses means, you know, jobs with dignity, okay? These are jobs, the labor movement always talking about jobs with justice. These casino jobs are jobs with injustice because they're based on human suffering and your financial loss and your suffering. to my expense. And that's not what our community's built on, that's not what our region's built on. So it's a great question, important question, but I hope that answers it.
Okay.
So councilors, we typically don't have, this is not a public hearing, this is not an opportunity, this is an opportunity for us to discuss the issues and take a vote. However, it is customary at this hearing level to, if somebody from the audience wishes to speak, it's up to the chair as to whether or not they want to recognize the individuals, and we do, I don't have any opposition to doing that, but I would just ask if somebody wishes to speak. Mr. Hester, I see your hand up. I will ask you, Mr. Hester, to keep your comments brief and to the point. Please come forward.
I'll get to that later with the 2-minute
I know you're not here for this, but go ahead.
Being simple,
Sure.
just knowing a little bit about Rockingham Park, being on the backside and gambling and the big, what I call the elite, the billionaires that are gonna put this together. In simple terms, I think what was just presented was, when you deal with parameters and you deal with horse racing, you're dealing with the public. The racetrack industry, everybody wins, because you're playing against the public. It's not like a casino. Very simple. The numbers are stacked against you. You never beat the house, okay? And it goes back down to blackjack, there's cards, and it goes to reading cards and all those mathematical numbers, and it's just a losing proposition. And I'll put it to a simple scenario. I never played the lottery. You know why? I may win if I went and picked a number, but your chance of probability are very slim, and it goes to Pascal's mathematical theory, okay? I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
But,
Mr. Collins, did you wish to speak on this matter? Same rules, just kind of keep right to the point and tell you exactly what you're looking for.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bill
Yep.
Collins, One Platte Court. I'm impressed by Mr. Hester, graduate of the Lawrence Vocational School, with his knowledge of Pascal's theory, mathematics. The only thing that really I'd like to speak on is the way this is worded. It says, resolution against proposed Rockingham Mall Casino to protect Lawrence residents and businesses. And Les Brunel, I have high regard for him. I know he's been doing this job for a long time. Nothing against him. I believe he's a paid lobbyist for the anti-gambling industry. I don't see any balance, any other side to this. If you councilors are going to consider this, hope you'll consider inviting the proponents of casino gambling here. Because when I see the word here, protect Lawrence residents, do I need protection? College grad, a senior citizen, a veteran? I think I can make up my own mind in this free market economy how I like to spend my money. And there is addiction in every facet of life. Gambling is no exception. With this kind of down on the farm attitude, where the master is looking down to protect his people Lawrence in this place, protect Lawrence residents. There's a reason the perception of Lawrence is so low by people on the outside. Do you ever wonder why we don't get value-packed coupons in the mail? And all your neighbors and your relatives do them to Thorn and Andover, North Andover, they get all kinds of coupons and deals, because they are perceived to have value. And they are perceived to know how to spend their money and make rational decisions. And apparently we are not. So it's not just the gambling issue that people want to protect us from. We don't get a lot of the perks that our neighbors do. And we have to change that. Have faith in the people of Lawrence. People know how to spend their money. They know how to spend it wisely. Not to mention the many, many jobs that will come about from having a casino like that in Salem, New Hampshire. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. If there's no more comments on this, I'll ask to call,
I would like to make just one more comment.
out of respect to my colleague, go ahead,
Thank
Council
you.
Vice President.
Thank you. Just after hearing the our two constituents speak, I would like to add, and this is my last comment. We're recently also experiencing a lot of public safety concerns. We're seeing, especially on social media, many videos and photos of accidents that are happening at all hours of the day and night. And this is just locally, if we have a closer casino, that's gonna add on to those rates. When you compare a casino that's in Nashua, New Hampshire, which is, there's one currently there, and a casino in Everett, the Encore Casino, typically, at least from people that I know around here, they take Ubers over there because they know that they're going to be participating in adult activities like drinking and et cetera. However, when you're just 10 minutes down the street or 15 minutes down the street, you're more inclined to drive, which will result in drinking and driving as well. It will, at the end, add on to, I know that this is a concern for all 9 of us counselors, and we get calls and emails about it, I know for sure, every day. So that's, I rest my case.
Thank you. Without that, I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll. There's a motion to approve, right? Somebody made a motion? Is there a motion on the floor? I think there is.
Council Del Rosario.
Pat, is there a motion on the floor? Did someone make a motion on this? I think you made a
No
motion.
motion yet, no motion yet.
I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to send for council for favorable recommendation. I wanna give it the opportunity for my college.
So a motion has been made to send it to full council for favorable recommendation. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Council Del Rosario. Any further discussion? See no further discussion. Ms. Waters, please call the roll. Is your light on, Pat?
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
I will inform that Council Vice Chair Reyes is now with us, so please call the roll for Vice Chair Reyes. Vice Chair Reyes?
Yes.
And the chair votes affirmative. It's going to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Thank you. I see that we have, we're going to go to the top because we have a city, we'd like to get our, Councilor Vice President, is there any other issues, as a courtesy to my colleagues, are there any other issues on the agenda this evening you want to discuss? Which are they?
The first item, I don't have the agenda with me. It's myself and Councilor Vivian Marmol, grant criteria.
That's the first one. So document 51924, city grant criteria. Go ahead, Vice President.
Thank you. I'm actually looking for this committee to withdraw this item for the time being until Councilor Marmol and I do a little bit more brainstorming on
You
it.
want us to withdraw it?
Yeah.
Is there a motion to withdraw?
Motion to withdraw the item 51924.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Council Del Rosario. Discussion? See no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. What's your other item, Vice
It's
President?
the last item under new business. I don't have the agenda item with
If there's no objection, we'll take document 54024, dedication of the corner in honor of, and how do you pronounce the gentleman's first name? Achilles?
Achilles, yeah.
Achilles Knowledge
Espinoza.
Espinoza at Trenton Street and Park Street. Go ahead, Vice President.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this. And I just want to, for the record, I'm not the only sponsor on this item. I also have the District City Councilor, Wendy Luzon, Councilor Gregory Del Rosario, and Mayor De Pena in support of this dedication. We recently had an unexpected loss in the community. Knowledge, Achilles, better known as Knowledge, was a staple in our music culture in the city of Lawrence. I also I submitted a document that has a bit more of information on his background and what he has done for the community. Many counselors who did not know of him or of his music did notice the public outcry once this news broke out, with one being Councilor Luzon and Councilor Del Rosario. I actually have here his family members and his closest friends to speak more about how he has helped the community and how his music has impacted our culture before and now.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Gene Jimenez, 73A Milk Street.
I will just ask you to take your cover off inside the chambers. Thank you.
Yeah, like Vice President Councilor Stephanie said, Knowledge, he was a huge role model in the city. He did a lot for the community. His music, we like to say, is timeless. He had a huge impact for me, especially, you know, as a child, you know, young, listening to his music, listening to Jason Ruiz, who's, we all like to say we work for the fire department as well, me and Jason, and we got closer as we, you know, we started working here, and they were huge, you know what I mean? My kids, I have kids now that are, still listen to his music, and this was around my time when I was in high school back in 2011, and I feel like just having this opportunity to get something, you know, honor knowledge in this street, I feel like it would be huge for our community. Kids get to see how much of an impact he'd had in our community, and they can strive to be the same way. And I feel like that would be huge for, you know, our youth, you know, to be able to do that. So, you know, I'm really for this. I really hope that we can definitely consider it. I think it'll be great. I think that's all. His sister is here as well.
Good evening, Council. My name is Stephanie Espinoza. My brother Achilles basically said one time that knowledge was power, even if he didn't spell it right. And I think that the support that we've received from Lawrence after his passing has basically proven that fact to our family. So growing up in Lawrence, my brother basically channeled his passion for music and, you know, his competitive nature. He built this remarkable career, and you know, it's so much more impactful than even I myself realized. He was just my little brother, but to so many people, he meant so much. He was such a proud Latino, proud of where he came from. You know, he basically used his talents to uplift and inspire the community, his friends, our family members. So it's no surprise that he, you know, had the reach that he did have. He was a true beacon of creativity. He was committed to the youth. He attended, you know, sporting events to cheer them on. He attended, you know, events so that he could perform at these events. And he basically, you know, built this legacy that we feel was so profound that we would love to see Lawrence just, you know, remember that so that he can continue to shine even though he's not here with us. So once again, I'd like to thank the City of Lawrence for all the love and the support that our family has received, and, you know, thank you so much for your time.
Okay. I guess we can ask questions at this point. I'm not aware, and by the way, my condolences to the family. I believe this is a recent loss. How old was he before he passed? How old was he? 39? If there was one thing that you could say about him that really, if you had to put one thing on the sign, if this thing passes, what would that one thing on the sign be? If you wanted somebody from Lawrence 50 years from now in the year 2074, 'cause many of us won't be, I know I won't be around, but some of us may not be around either, to read something, what is it going to say that's going to talk about your brother?
Knowledge is power. That's pretty much it. He did everything he could to learn everything about anything that was important to him, anything that was important to anybody around him, so that he can help educate them and get them through whatever they were needing at the time. So it was literally knowledge. That's why his name was what it was. He was just very well educated in so many different ways, in so many aspects. And, you know, anything you went to him for, he would figure it out. He would find a way to help you. Even if he knew nothing about it, he became educated on the topic just so he can help you. So I think it should say that knowledge is power.
Was he born in Lawrence?
He was not. We were actually born in Camp Pendleton in California. Our father's a Marine. So we moved here in the 80s, and we both attended the Leahy. We attended the Oliver. I myself attended Lawrence High. He unfortunately did not, because they had lost their accreditation at that point, and he ended up going to Whittier Tech in Haverhill. He spent years moving basically back and forth, so he would leave Lawrence, but he would always come back. He actually passed here in Lawrence. He was here doing a performance days before his passing. He spent a lot of time here, even though he lived in Florida. It was kind of crazy how much he came back to town, but he was always here.
Where did he live in Lawrence?
We actually live on Trenton Street. Our family home is still there, 40 Trenton, right on the corner of Park and Trenton. our father still lives in the home.
So, I mean, we're about to consider essentially what is a legacy. He has passed, and it's very difficult and awkward, quite frankly, since he has passed so recently, to have a discussion about this without bringing emotion into this. And
Right.
it's very challenging and awkward, and I want to honor the fact that you're here.
Thank you.
But I have to ask some questions, and sometimes
Absolutely.
they're meant to be in a way to have a better understanding. So 39 is an awfully young
Yes.
age. If we're going to be honoring him, part of his story is that he died at a young age. Was it unexpected? Was it a health issue?
He had health issues. He did. He was suffering from depression, but he also became overweight because of it. He was more focused on helping other people than himself, unfortunately. But he was suffering from health conditions, and pretty much I think just the travel back and forth probably got the better of him.
Okay. I got a comment regarding just the corners in general, which has less to do with your brother, more to do with us as a city and what we're doing on that. Love the city. We're about to potentially honor him. What were the reasons for him? And there are good reasons. No one's forced to stay in our city for their entire life. So please don't. This is a great country, and we can move wherever we want to move to. Why did he decide to leave the city?
So basically, I moved first to Tampa. I basically found a job there, and he kind of didn't want to be away from his mother, which was my mother as well, and my daughter. His daughter is here as well, but he wasn't spending a lot of time with her, unfortunately, due to unforeseen situations. But he basically wanted to be close to us because we had moved away, and we were pretty much like his backbones. We basically got him through a lot, so he pretty much needed us, but at the same time, he loved it here so much that he would leave us to come visit them and to spend time with them and do the music here. And because, you know, the kids here and the energy here was just something he was never going to get in Tampa. We were there, but that's all that was there, honestly. So he just kept coming back home to Lawrence.
I got you. This is a question for one of the sponsors, the vice president. So, how unique is this individual when it comes to what he provided to the city? Because this is all about our city and about the residents. How unique, and the reason why I'm asking is I'll give you the background. If there's 75 other people that have made music, that have inspired people, and that have done all that stuff, are we now going to have 75 corners in the city named for 75 people who have a similar contribution level to the city? So I'm trying to figure out, what is it about this gentleman that is saying, yeah, forget about whatever the number is, this person right here rises to a certain level that we think as a city we need to remember him?
How did he put Lawrence on the map? That's how I'm translating it. Even though locally or regionally he was a big name and helped our youth, but comparing him, let's for example compare him to Nicky Jam or Dominic Martis, who had or have a bigger career than he had. I think the most unique thing about Knowledge is that he had someone, and I'm sure some of the councilors may know, but rapper Cardi B, who's a huge international sensation, she plays his music. She has his music on his Instagram, played his music during her daughter's birthday party, and that's someone who's like all the way up here, like Nicky Jam level up there. And for someone to be from Lawrence, to still come home to make and produce his music, and to get the attention of an artist like that speaks volumes.
Yeah. And then we're going to release this.
And I think
Did you want to say something? Go right ahead.
First, I want to say thank you to, we just had his wake recently on Wednesday, and I want to say thank you to the ones that, you know, were helped out and helped planned it out and actually allowed us to have the type of wake that we had. And it really just amazed me and surprised me just how many people came out, how peaceful it was. You know, we had something intimate and close between 3 and 5 with the family, and then from 5 to 8 we had it open to the public, and you should have seen it, the amount of people that came. And what was so unique about it is just that we got to play his music outside, and how many people knew his music, how many people just felt the love, you know what I mean, for him. And a lot of people didn't even know him personally. I knew him personally. And it was just amazing, the different age groups is what really got to me. So I got a chance to like look around and see just the different ages, and I'm like, looking at certain kids and stuff, and I'm like, you weren't even born probably during his music. And it's crazy that you're listening to it. And the other day, like my daughter and my niece was listening to his music, and I'm like, do you guys even know who that is? And just to go back a little bit, the reason he was out here was because my 15-year-old niece wanted him to perform at her quince. So I actually paid for his flight so he can come out here and he can have that performance. And unfortunately, he ended up passing a few days after. But it's just amazing that she wanted him there. And that's just how much of an impact he was. Not was just what he was doing in the community, just his music used to speak for him. So, you know, that's just to go on top of what everybody was saying, how unique he was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Thank you.
So
President.
I was gonna finish a couple more thoughts and then,
Yeah,
okay.
I wanna say,
right now you wanna say it? I was gonna finish my thoughts. You wanna do it now? Okay. So,
I had a comment just to speak on his impact.
sure.
This is really just to speak on the topic of his impact. He has two.
What, your name, please?
Juan Paulino.
Juan Paulino, you're here from the city?
Yes.
For the record, what's your address?
Well, I don't live in the city anymore. I live in Haverhill,
Okay,
but I used to live in the city.
go right ahead.
But I was raised with him. He has two major platinum selling artists, which is French Montana and Rick Ross. Two major songs with them, and music videos at the same time. What's the streams at for the music videos for the French? Yeah, over millions of views on that. They charged us for the song. They gave us the money back, and they put it on their album. Also, they offered him a 10-day tour in London. He's on YouTube. Tim Westwood is a big disc jockey over there, speaking in regards to him. So he's global. Just
Okay, super, thank you. So I'm going to give the floor to Council Santiago in just 1 second. So the bigger question here, I just think I just need to put this on the floor, right? So it's been said. This is not to diminish the testimony that we heard this evening, for starters, because clearly he's been very impactful to many people, and this is probably just the tip of the iceberg. So I acknowledge that and respect that. The other part of it is there's two elements that caused me just a chance just to pause. Number one, his passing is so recent. The emotion is still there. And sometimes we need time, I think, to provide context. Is the power of this individual, as he in from our city, does that have the kind of staying power that maybe a year or two from now has? So maybe it's not going to be the same passion that now, because everything is so fresh. But will that, if we didn't do anything this month or next month, would there still be a year or two from now that same desire? And that to me is a certain test as well. When we say that, yeah, that person was in our community, has an impact, but it happened 5 years, 10 years ago, 2 years ago, it's not diminishing, it's still there. Well, that says something to me, because that impact is, it's powerful. Right now, we don't know that. And that's an issue. It could very well be. And sometimes we are in a difficult spot, because it's when I see a family member who had just lost someone, the last thing I want to do is say no. You're in some pain right now, and we're not in a position. We don't want to inflict more pain. We want to provide relief and solace and peace. That's what we want to do. But I feel compelled to at least say that, number one. The second element has nothing to do with this particular, with this dedication, is all of a sudden we are doing an awful lot of these recently. And the people that I'm talking to are saying, oh, is that all you guys are doing? Just square dedication, park dedications? I mean, what about this, that? I mean, there's a perception, right or wrong, there's a perception that we're just doing a bunch. And it just seems like, and I can't, when you start the first 1, 2, or 3 or so, but at some point, we're getting to 4, 5, and 6. And I'm not saying that this individual's not, knowledge is not worthy of it, but I have to say, how many more are we gonna do, like now? And why are we doing this all right now? And I don't have an answer to that. I'm not a sponsor of this, so I can't tell you why that's happening, but I can tell you that we're doing an awful lot. And sometimes it's hard to justify the numbers of doing this, regardless of this individual. So I throw that out there.
I think if I may.
If you want to, and then I'm going to go with Councilor
If I may,
Santiago.
I think when I called Councilor Luzon to ask her for her support on this as a district councilor, I think she said it perfectly. She said, I would like to see someone of your generation get honored. I am not of that generation, so I'm not fully aware of the impact, but I have seen it online, and even my own son shared his passing. When I spoke to, I originally thought that area was Councilor De Rosario's area, which is why Councilor De Rosario's name is on as a co-sponsor. When I called him, he said the same thing. He's like, I'm not from this generation, but I'm seeing this everywhere from people that I would have never imagined that they knew. And when we talk about Lawrence history, it's not just people who may have served in military services. It's not just a city councilor who may have served and left a positive impact. It's other areas that we may not all be familiar with, and I am with you, and I'm one of the councilors that have spoken out against all the recognitions that we've been doing. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't know the actual impact of the community. I wouldn't be advocating for an individual. So I guess that's my answer to that.
Councilor Santiago.
First of all, I want to say I'm sorry for your loss. Really, this is the hard time for the family. It's not like we expecting like that. But some constituents are mentioning me who is him, or my constituent. I have some volunteers. They play music, they do community service, and maybe they expect to recognize, but they ask me if there's a requirement to be a honor for the corner, and I have to listen my constituents. I really apologize, but I am not agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Okay.
Councilor.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Thank you, through you, Chair. We represent our people. And sometimes our people send us messages to us, and we try not to see it, or we intentionally ignore those calls or those messages that they send us. When I got the call, the first thing I thought, I tell Councilor Infantes, I'm not from that era, I don't know who he was, and that's not my district, but I'm hearing my people asking for this. I wasn't able to go to the service Wednesday, so I was working, but I saw it online. And I'm sorry that I'm going to use this, if this were to be an election, we all would be going for it, because that would be all votes right there. There were so many people crying, singing, dancing. And like the firefighter said, it was peaceful too, because it brought you peace, because there was something different done in the city. And the only way this is happening is because community got together. Unfortunately, it was because this gentleman or this artist died, and we should get together more often when people are alive, and it only happens when tragedy happens and when that hits our community. But it's also tell you when our community is together. And at this point in time, constituents, colleagues, councilors, constituents of every district, they were there too. They were there paying tribute to this artist that I didn't have the chance to meet or to listen to his music. But I will never deny something that my community asked for, and they showed me by getting together. Not just our community. There's a gentleman there that used to live in the city and is from Haverhill, it's here. His family is from outside. They moved out of the city, and they here asking for one last piece so we can remember this artist that is an impact to the community. Why is it an impact to the community? Because if I want to congregate 100 people, I won't be able to do it
It was more than
myself
100
as a
people
councilor.
that night. It was more.
But he was able to put our city together, even though it was a tragedy. But he did put our people together, all ages. If you haven't seen it, it should be online somewhere. All ages, older than me, younger than me, constituents, all of them, regardless if they're in the city or not. So with that said, and that's why I'm on support. And I know we've been having this talk that we've been dedicating corners. I've been in the city for 30 years. And I remember back in my days when they used to dedicate corners and nobody never complains about it. And today we can make a difference. And we can tell our young people that if they are real and they make an impact on the city, eventually we will remember them forever. So I'm fully supporting this idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. If there's no other comments from counselors, I think we're done. I think we got pretty good information here. I'm going to be looking for...
So you, Mr. President?
Oh,
Chair?
yes, I do see you. Counselor Vice Chair Reyes, please. Go ahead.
Yes, I have my hand over there.
I see it. Go ahead.
So I don't want to repeat what my colleagues say right now, Councilor Del Rosario, but I want to mention I'm fully supported because when we do a dedication, when we had the opportunity to recognize the dedication to our constituents, especially for me, I'm fully supported because when we dedicated a corner or park for different persons in our community, it's because they deserve. They do a wonderful contribution to our community, and we need to bring it back. We need to change it just a little bit because when we do a recognition and dedication is awesome. It's not only for the family be here, it's also for our community to inspire another member, our youth, to see what we do for the people, do a great contribution in our community. I'm fully supporting this proposal.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm looking for a motion to send this up to the full council without a recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion to send to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
There's a motion to send it up to the full
Second.
council, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair. So made by Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Any further discussion? See none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Santiago,
No.
Chair.
Chair votes no, 2-2. I'm looking for a motion to send this up to the full council without a recommendation. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion made. Is there a
Okay.
second? Seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Made by Councilor Del Rosario, made the motion. Seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Any discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Santiago,
No.
Chair Montplant.
Yes. Motion to send this up passes or goes to the full council.
Thank you, counselors.
You're welcome. Is that it, Council Vice President? Are you done? Good. Thank you. The next item we're going to take off is, you're welcome, is the document 520. Mr. McCarthy's got this. Approve the amendment to the city's zoning ordinance to allow accessory dwelling units as permitted use. Mr. McCarthy, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, Daniel McCarthy from the Planning Department on behalf of this. I had sent the email to the members earlier requesting that this matter be tabled.
Okay.
This is a change in the zoning ordinance that requires a public hearing and review by the Lawrence Planning Board before it comes to City Council. It's scheduled for a hearing in front of the Lawrence Planning Board on December 4th, and I'll be bringing it back with a recommendation from them at that time.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. Before I look for a motion to have this thing tabled, I think I would be, it would be help. Are you going to make the same recommendation to the Housing Committee tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, and I think that's the only thing on the docket tomorrow. Am I right, for the housing? I think that's all they're dealing with tomorrow.
Yes, I saw that.
I would encourage you to let the chair know that. So if that's the only thing, there's no sense in bringing everybody here tomorrow to hear what you just said, which is that. So
Yes.
please make Chair Marmol aware of that, and then she can make the decision as to whether or not she wants to cancel the meeting or continue on, if you wouldn't mind doing that.
Yep.
But for our purposes this evening, I'm not letting you go all that quickly. Can you give us, I know you're not going to give an opinion, just give us a 2-minute overview of this, and we're going to go into more depth, but I just think it's important that we at least hear what the issue is, and then we will wait to see what the planning board says. Are you prepared to just say what this issue is and how we got here?
Certainly. The state has passed an omnibus housing program, and it considers one of those elements is called the accessory dwelling unit provision, which allows by right accessory dwelling units in all single-family residential districts. The administration, realizing a situation that we currently have in the city with numerous apartments that are being built in attics and basements and other parts of the house that weren't uniformly, would like to correct that. And the proposal is to allow accessory dwelling units by right also for 2- and 3-bedroom, 3-unit houses, as well as allow multiple units by special permit from the planning board. So that's what the proposal is. There is a ordinance that's already been drafted to be incorporated. You should have a copy of that with the details. I will make that available to everyone. And again, it's going to go for the planning board for debate.
When is the planning board meeting on that? Do you know?
It's Wednesday, December 4th.
Thank you. Do you have any other, so I'm looking for a motion to table this matter. Is there a motion?
Motion to table.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
Chair LaPlante.
Yes, motion tables. Mr. McCarthy, you're here right now. Are there any other matters that you have on the agenda that you wish to
Document
take up?
522 of 24.
Document 520, if there's no objection, we're going to go to document 52224, which is the approval of a grant of utility easements to the Lazarus House construction project. Did we all get one of these? Did we all get one? Okay, thank you. If you could put 2 aside for the Vice Chair Reyes and Councilor Del Rosario, that'd be helpful. Thank you. And if you have an extra copy, if you can give that to Pat. Do you have an extra for Pat? I can give her mine when I'm done, if you don't have one. Okay. Sir, what are you here for this evening? You're with us this time? Okay, great. Great, thank you. Oh, thank you. What is your name?
Miguel Cruz?
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
Do you work with the Lazarus House?
Yes, I'm the director of operations.
You are, welcome. Okay, Mr. McCarthy.
So in the package that you received, there should be 2 documents. I just gave you 2 larger copies of those, the large plans. So the first one is a site plan, and that shows the location of the house and the property lines. And that is the one with the yellow area marked in yellow, which shows the area of where we're talking about the easement. The second plan is the HVAC schematic plan, which shows the installation of 4 HVAC units that are gonna go on the exterior of this building to provide heating and air conditioning for the new project that's going on. So Lazarus House is in the process of redeveloping this old Victorian home. They put in hundreds of thousands of dollars of work into this house, rehabbing this for a facility for housing for the neighborhood. The other document you have here, smaller one, is 2 documents stapled together. The councilors at home don't have a copy of this, but this is just a portion of your larger documents. And the reason I photographed.
Do me a favor, the camera is looking for, just put the paper right in front of your mic. Nope, lower, well. Just put it one place, he'll figure it out. A little higher, that's good right there. Just leave it there. Leave it there for about a minute. And go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. McCarthy, continue speaking.
Okay, so if you can see in that circle in yellow, there's a line there, and this is a land survey that was just done recently, showing the property line at 2 feet 7 inches. If you look at the schematic behind you, it'll show you that there's a concrete apron running alongside the house that the HVACs are going to be mounted to.
And put that to the cameras, my colleagues may be watching this, and so I want them to at least be able to see it. And you point to the yellow, if you don't mind what can you leave it, can you point to where you see the yellow? I see the yellow, perfect. And that's where your concrete walkway is going to be.
And that okay. Says 3 feet 2 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a portion of the easement that we're talking about. There's a 7 inches, the concrete will be going 7 inches into the property of the city. This is the General Donovan School. There's also going to be an easement for construction, because to do the installation and pour it, they're obviously going to have to stand on city property to install this. So the HVAC system, if you look at it, will not be in city property, only the concrete apron.
So this is a temporary easement to allow construction work to take place. Is that what this is all about? So people can go there, step on property that they're not, that they don't own, and be able to do work.
Right.
And which school is it? The
General Donovan School.
General Donovan School. That's the property. It's a city property, and so they need permission from the city to step on our property.
It's city-owned property.
To go ahead and do the work that you just are outlining here.
Yes.
Along that little stretch of land.
If you look at this,
yep.
It indicates that the HVAC equipment itself will be at 2 feet 4 inches from the building. So it will be 1 inch within their boundary. So they don't need an easement for the equipment, just for the concrete apron.
So the only thing that's going to be more permanent is that concrete apron.
That concrete apron will be a permanent easement. Yes, that's right.
Okay. And just so we're clear, if this doesn't happen, what happens to the project?
They need this to supply the air conditioning and the heating for this home. And there's no other logical or important area to place this in. This is in an open area. If you look on the plans, the other sides of the house are much smaller. So there's 4 units that are being installed at different spaces along to get as much heating and air conditioning to the building as possible. So this is the only location where they can go in a reasonable manner.
And so just the number of, you're talking about 4 units at this location?
Four
So this is not at the General Donovan School, but it's that older house that's right next door to it on the corner, right?
It's a property identified as 155 Franklin Street. It's at the intersection of Franklin and Cross Street.
It's at that point?
It is.
Okay, there's a religious statue in the front, if I remember correctly, is that right?
It was, yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
Okay. Okay, so how many, I'm curious, you know my passion regarding housing in the city, so how many units are we talking about here? Do you know that? I'm just trying to get a sense of what the impacts are. Can you just come forward so they can talk to them, so my colleagues can hear you who aren't here?
Sure. So the development is going to be 5 transitional.
And your name, because I'm not sure everybody knows who you are.
My name is Miguel Cruz. I'm the Director of Operations for Lazarus House Ministries.
Thank you.
What we're building there is transitional housing, again, for homeless people at low cost to them. And it's going to be 5 units that we're going to have on the property.
Okay. And it's essentially just for singles, or they're looking like 2 or 3 people per unit?
Yes,
One
this is going to
person?
be family transitional health shelter.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, I'm set. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Del Rosario?
Thank you through you. And it's good to clarify that this transitional housing, it's a great program the Lazaro House has for 2 years. Family get educated financially. Family get educated when it comes to everything that is going on in the city. And in 2 years, most of the family are prepared to move into their own apartment and sometimes buying their own houses. We need to clarify that. It's not like a regular shelter where people go in and out on an everyday basis. I encourage my colleagues to take a trip to the Capernaum place that they have, which is transitional housing, and it's only for 2 years. And people have to go through their educational system and go out and work, and they also pay low rent. And in 2 years, most of the family that are going there are ready to move into their own houses or to be able to rent apartment, even with the bank account, saving money, because it's a great program. We need to highlight that, because when we talk about shelter, we believe it's a regular shelter where people's going to go, where family's going to go and going to sleep 2 days or 2. No, this is a transitional housing program that is very effective. So once again, I encourage my colleagues to take a trip or a tour into the Capernaum place for Lazarus House and see what this transitional housing it's all about. And this is an extension of what they've been doing for a few years. And also, some of us, or whoever doesn't know, the Donovan School is the Donovan School, but it's not being used as a school. So there's no kids there taking classes. So when it comes to this easement, I encourage you guys to send it with a favorable recommendation so they can get this remodelation done for this lovely program that they are helping people to get on their feet and also getting financial education and all type of education in that program. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Mr. Del Rosario recommended that those of us on the council, if we're so inclined, maybe tour a facility to have a better idea as to what this means. And this is not like the others. This is something different. I, for one, if offered an invitation, would accept that invitation. I would gladly look at whether it's the Capernaum place, I think is what he suggested, or whatever it's called. So if that's something that you would like to arrange, I am certainly willing to go ahead and take a look so I can be more informed about it. Having said that, do we have a number of, how many transitional housing units do we have in the city today? Do we know?
I don't know how many we have outside of Lazarus House, but Lazarus House, the Capernaum place, has 20-unit apartments at this time. I don't know what the city offers, but that I definitely know that.
And that's helpful. The reason why I asked the question is this is another example of we don't know what we have in the city. we say I'm not going to go into my diatribe. My colleagues have all heard it many times. I'm going to spare them this evening going into more of the details, but this is what is pertinent right now. We don't know how many transitional units we have. We know Lazarus now has 20. Do we consider the LHA properties transitionary, or do we consider those permanent? What do we consider to be transitionary housing in the style that we're talking, that Mr. Del Rosario was just alluding to, that is more of a 2-year program as opposed to a 2-day program? So I'd like to know that. As we as a city this vote will impact 5 more places on top of how many, which we don't know. Maybe all it is 20. Maybe now we'll have 25. Is that a big number? I don't know. But if we look at the whole thing, maybe that has an impact. So that's the genesis of my question. That's that. So if you want to follow through with me later, if that's of interest to you, I'm happy to do that. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
That's
Mr. Del Rosario said take a tour, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
We welcome everyone. We
Okay.
welcome everyone. We've had the mayor come by. We've
Sure.
had different people come by.
Sure.
We welcome everyone to see what Lazarus House does.
Sure.
We do it different from every other shelter that you hear in the state or anywhere. And Lazarus's name is synonymous. I mean, people know us for 41 years. We've been serving the community.
Happy to do that. Are there any, I'm looking for either a motion or a question or a comment by any council, any committee members.
Chair,
Mr.
Chair,
Del
one more
Rosario?
time, and through you, and I appreciate the time. And this is one of the programs that I support, because when I went there, I mean, I have my personal experience with Lazarus House 30 years ago, right? I was a kid arriving to the city. But when I went and toured the place, because when people talk about Lazarus House, we believe, or we tend to think that it's a regular shelter, right? It's a shelter. It's a regular shelter. And that's why I encourage my colleagues to go and take the tour. Call Carmen, or he can arrange anything, and you guys can take the tour. And you're going to see what a different type of shelter or what a different type of program they run. And that's why I'm in support of that. Because when I went, it's called the Capernaum place. When I went to the Capernaum place, because I thought it was a private owned property, right? It's a complex with 20 apartments, like he said, 20 units, right? And I thought every time I passed through there and seen it, I thought it was a developer that built that over and it's making money out of it. It's beautiful, it's well done. And when I learn about the program, what do they do, or how the family gets there and how they come out of there, I say, no, but my colleagues need to know. And some of us have been there. And we got the invite for Lazarus House many times, all of us. But some of us think it's just a regular shelter. I was at the fundraiser last Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. They did a fundraiser at the Andover Country Club. And I never seen anything like it before either. They raised almost $600,000 in 2 hours. And those are people that believe in what Lazarus House is. So I encourage, once again, some of my colleagues that hasn't been there to go there and check that out. It's not a regular shelter. It's a program. It's a program that actually worked. And you can hear the people talking and where they are, how they got to Lazarus House, and where they are now.
Very good.
So once again, I encourage you guys to take the tour and learn a little bit more of this, so we don't put Lazarus House as a regular shelter like every other shelter that we have in the city, because it's totally different. And with that said, I will present a motion to send to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion made, is there a second? Seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Any discussion, further discussion? Seeing no I am going to be voting yes on this, which is maybe a shock to some, only because I want to take a look at it, but I reserve my right at the full council. I'm not flip-flopping. I want to send this up to the full council, but I also want to learn more about this. My vote may be yes on the full council, or maybe no on the full council, but I will be casting a vote on the full council. That I can assure you. Motion been made and properly second. Roll call vote, please, Pat.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante.
Chair votes yes. Give me my card. Motion passes.
Thank you, councils. Thank
Is that
you.
it, Mr. McCarthy? We done? Okay, good.
That is it for me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good night. Appreciate it. Appreciate all your work that you do for us. Let's see.
Thank you again, and have a good evening.
Good night. Councilors, we're going to go to the top of the agenda. Document 52324. Do you know what this is, by the way? 52324, handicap parking at 163 Spruce Street. I'm looking for a motion that to send this up, or send this to the police department for their review.
So moved.
Motion made.
Second.
Second. Motion made by Council Santiago, seconded by Council Del Rosario. Discussion. See no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Oh, sorry. Roll call vote, please. Everything's got a roll call. Sorry. Yes, please. Everything.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
Chair LaPlante.
Yes, motion carries. Next document is document 52424, handicap parking, 42 Andover Street. Looking for motion to send to the police department.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Next one is document number 52524, handicap parking at 21 Wendell Street. Looking for motion to send this to the police department.
So,
Motion made by Councilor Santiago,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question, won't call the question. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
yes.
Chair LaPlante.
Yes, motion carries. Next document, 52624, handicap parking, 18 Fulton Street. Looking for motion to send to the police department for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
And Chair LaPlante.
Yes. Okay, I think this one and the next one go hand in hand. This is document 52724, remove the handicap parking sign at 153 Willow Street. Councilors, the one before on Fulton Street was a new one. I believe this individual is moving to a different location.
Yes.
So I think they kind of go together, but we still need to send it to the police. I'm always, let me just take a look at the background information. I don't see the need for this to go to the police department. If I would encourage us to send this up to the full council to order a public hearing. The individual who has it in front of their house has asked that it be taken out and has another place. I think it's pretty clear cut. So that would be the motion I would encourage, a motion to send to the full council to order a public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor
Second.
Santiago, seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Aye.
I heard a no. Roll call vote, please.
Councilor Reyes.
Yes.
Del Rosario.
Yes.
Councilor Santiago.
Yes.
Chair LaPlante.
Yes. The next document is document 52824, compensation for school committee members. There is nobody here to speak on this matter this evening. I'm going to be looking for a motion to table this matter and encourage the council president to show up and provide some rationale for this proposal.
Motion to table.
Motion to table and send a correspondence to the president. Is that part of the motion?
Yes.
Second.
Motion made and a letter of invitation has been made and seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes. Next document is 52924, one-way Columbus Avenue. I'm looking for a motion to send this to both the police department and to the DPW/city engineer for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion. See none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Santiago?
Yes.
LaPlante?
Yes, next document is 53024. This is no parking on Warwick Street from Havel Street to Dawes Street on the odd side. Looking, I think it's just a police, looking to send this to the police department for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago,
Second.
seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion. See none, clerk, please call the roll.
Santiago?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
What about Councilor Santiago? Did you already vote?
Yeah, I did it
And I'm going to vote yes on that one. Yep. Document 53124, one-way Tenney Street from Arlington Street to Whitman Street. Looking for a motion to send this both to the police department and for the DPW/city engineer for their reviews. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion. See no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes. Next document is document 53224, resident parking on Bromfield Street. So I'm going to presume this is Bromfield Street, both sides Full Street, because in our background information, it does not have a limitation. So I'm presuming it's the entire street. I'm not sure if this is a long street or a short street, but Council Vice Chair Reyes, before we make a motion on this, has it been your experience, Vice Chair, that this go to any departments for their review? For example, the police department?
Can you repeat the item, please?
Sure, this is 53224, resident parking on Bromfield Street, and the question is, has it been your experience that we go to whether it's the police or city engineer, either one or the other, for their review before adopting?
We can send with the city engineer.
That's all right, so let's go with that. Looking for a motion to send this document for the city engineer for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Council Santiago. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Oh, no, I won't call the question. I keep doing that out of habit. Pat, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Next document is document number 53324. This is resident parking at 73 Irving Avenue. Again, doesn't say if it's any side of the street, whole street, part of the street. It just has that one person's address. That's going to be interesting. We are relatively new on the resident parking. I know that sounds kind of odd. Typically, we do the entire either block of the street, and we typically just don't do like one street address. This is unique. It has one street address, 73 Irving Ave, as opposed to all of Irving Ave for the block. I guess we could send that to the DPW. I don't think there's anything unlawful with that, but I think that if we start going down this road of having just one unit or one house on one street, you can imagine what that might mean in the future.
Yeah.
So let me provide this as a suggestion. let's send this to the to the DPW for their review. We can get that back, and then we can have a you know what we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna ask if we do both, just for that one address, and I will also ask for the entire block, so we can have both, so we can not delay things. And then we could have a discussion at this committee based on what we receive for a response. Does that make sense? So I'm looking for a motion to send to the DPW their review for 73 Irving Avenue and that block of Irving Avenue.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Counselor Reyes? Counselor Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes, motion carries. Next is 53424, resident parking, Trinity Street. Looking for a motion to send, and again, no particular block. Looking for a motion to send this to the DPW engineering for their review. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Yes, next is 53524, no parking. Here we go, one side of Buswell Street. And according to the memo we received by Councilor Luzon, the ambulance and fire truck can't enter the street, which is the reason why she's looking for one side of the street. It doesn't say which side, but I'm looking for a motion to send this to the DPW/engineering office for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes. Next document, 53624. This is no overnight parking on the south side at 396 Water Street. Again, I guess we can send this to the police department for their review. We're dealing with one address on Water Street. I guess we do things like this for businesses where we'll say, you know, between this point and that point, 15-minute parking, half hour. So we kind of do this in other places. So this is not necessarily unusual. So I guess to honor Councilor Marmol, I'm looking for a motion to send this to the police department for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Del Rosario. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes. Next item is 53724, four-way stop, intersection of Milton and Lowell Street. That's easy. Looking to send that one to the police department for their review.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago.
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Counselor Santiago?
Yes.
Yes. The next item is 53824, the Earth Day cleanup, April 19th, 2025, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Campagnon Common. There is nobody here to speak on this matter. It's been our position, at least in this committee, to table this matter. That is on April 19th. I think there's plenty of time. So I'm looking for a motion to table and invite the Groundwork Lawrence to a ordinance committee meeting.
Motion to table.
Motion to table and send correspondence to Groundworks Lawrence, inviting them.
And send the correspondence.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Selena Reyes. Discussion. Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes. That, we have this one thing, give me a second, councilors, there's a item in our packet. We have three things in our packet. I'm looking at them now for the first time. Bear with me, if there's no, one of this document 2223. Let me see if I can find that document in our agenda. Thank you. I see it. Council, if there's no objection, we're going to be taking off the January 17th, 2023 table matters, document 2223. It's a one-way conversion of Winter Street northbound from Essex Street toward Lowell Street. We have received correspondence in our packets from the city engineer. I will read this into the record for my colleagues who may not have it in front of them. So good evening, councilors. In response to the request made by Council President Giovanni Rodriguez, documented under 2223, received on April 13th, 2023, regarding the proposal to convert Winter Street into a one-way road heading northbound from Essex Street toward Lowell Street. After assessing the current traffic flow and congestion patterns in the area, I recommend implementing this change to improve traffic conditions at the Winter Street and Essex Street intersection. Currently, the intersection of Winter and Essex Street experiences frequent congestion, especially during peak hours. The four-way stop setup causes significant traffic delays as vehicles queue up, particularly when approaching Winter Street. By making Winter Street a one-way road northbound, we anticipate the traffic flow will become smoother, significantly reducing the bottleneck effect caused by vehicles entering from multiple directions. This adjustment should alleviate the jam at the four-way intersection and enhance overall efficiencies in the area. If the council approves this proposal, our next steps would include conducting public outreach to inform residents and businesses, adjusting signage, and implementing appropriate road markings to clearly guide the new one-way direction. Additionally, we will monitor traffic patterns following the change to ensure the desired outcome is achieved. Please let me know if you'd like any further information on your support to the City Council in improving the city's traffic management. So that is the recommendation for this item sent to us by Acting City Engineer Theo Rosario. Based on this recommendation, looking for, we can go whichever way you want. He does approve of it, so we could send this up to the full council now that we have this. I don't think there's anything else we're looking for as far as police. It would need a public hearing.
Motion to send to the full council to order a public hearing.
Motion made by Council Del Rosario, seconded by Council Santiago. Discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
Yes.
Chair LaPlante?
Yes. We have two more of these. The next one is document 27824. The title is One-Way Street on East Haverhill Street in front of the Partham School. Was put on by Councilor Payano back in 2021. Senator Payano now. If you bear with me, I'll read this as quick as possible so we have it on the record. The Department of Public Works opposes the proposed conversion of East Haverhill Street in front of the Partham School into a one-way street. As a key arterial road, East Haverhill Street is essential to Lawrence's infrastructure, connecting Route 110 with the neighboring cities of Methuen and Haverhill. Restricting a section of the street to one-way traffic would likely cause congestion by concentrating vehicle flow in a single direction, leading to bottlenecks and disrupting overall traffic circulation in the area. The DPW emphasizes the importance of maintaining a two-way traffic on East Haverhill Street to ensure smooth and efficient transit along this critical gateway corridor. Please also consider that state has scheduled a project to reconfigure the intersection of Morrison and East Haverhill Streets, with work set to begin next year. This upcoming improvement project may impact traffic patterns and could offer additional solutions to address congestion and safety concerns in the area. In the coming days, I plan to invite the school superintendent to the site to explore alternative solutions that address the current issues with pickup and drop-off at the Partham School. That's this extent of it. So I'm going to be looking for a motion to withdraw this.
Motion to withdraw?
Motion made by
Second.
Councilor Del Rosario, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion?
That's number 278. I don't have it in my packet.
27821 is on the final page, page 7. On December 7th, 2021 is the date. Motion has been properly made, it's been properly seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario?
Yes.
Councilor Santiago?
No.
No. Councilor Chair LaPlante?
Yes, 3-1, motion is sent up to the full council to withdraw. The last item does not have a number. It's actually, Councilor Del Rosario is one of your items. It's parking on the south side of Alder Street between Lawrence Street and Spruce Street. Councilor Del Rosario, does that sound familiar to you?
Yes, it's been in the agenda for over a year. I don't have the number either with myself here, but it was part of a package.
All right, I'm looking for it now. Are you saying it was in 2023 or 2024?
I remember, do you remember when the National Night Out came out again to do it, that we took a Mima bus and we drove by it? That was the year.
So that was last year, I believe that's 2023. That was not this year. All right?
Yeah, like I said, it's been in the agenda for over a year.
Yep, so that helps. I'm looking. We're looking for it. I don't have it. I'm looking. Well, we're looking. This is for Lawrence Street and.
I'm gonna
Spruce Street.
search here about the emails that I send the engineer, because I also send plenty emails about that too,
Excellent, thank
to
you.
the engineer.
Good, thank you.
It's item 9723, 9723. I don't know which page is it, but it's item 9723.
9723, now we're looking for that. And that's not jumping at us, to be honest. It's not in order. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking. If everybody else would help me look, so another few more set of eyes would be helpful. Council, I'm not seeing that on our packet, which is unfortunate. This memo was sent on September 13th, so this has been in our package here for a little bit of 2024, so a couple months ago.
And I think, and to be honest, Chair, I think we already discussed that,
Okay.
and we were waiting for a public hearing for that already. So I don't know, and I was about to ask questions about that item because there was a death, there was a shooting because road rage on that street a year ago. And I remember that we went through it, and it was waiting for a public hearing. And I've been holding the constituents till we get the public hearing. And I was about to ask questions, so honestly speaking, I don't know how we can get items to disappear out of the agenda.
Great question. So council, we can't talk, there's nothing we can do with it here. You're probably right. It may be at the full council level. I'm sure you could look into that a little bit more, and if it's at the full council level, you can do what you need to do to get that to a public hearing. So, but it's not on the agenda, so there's nothing we can do at this level. No, we don't have it, so, there's that. So, before we adjourn this evening, one more just bit of housekeeping. We do have minutes from October 8th, 2024. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from October 8th.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago, seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? See no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Santiago,
Yes.
Chair LaPlante.
Yes. At this point, I'm looking for, is there any other matters before the committee? If there isn't any, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Councilor Santiago, seconded by Vice Chair Reyes. Discussion? See no discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Del Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Santiago,
Yes.
Chair.
Yes, motion carries. Good night, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.